when he puts his dick down, people come and suck it. You know what I mean? And they sucked a good dick.
Be my victim.
This is not real. It's not real. Candyman.
The listener assumes all responsibility and risk for use of this podcast. How'd You Like That Movie will not assume any responsibility and or consequences if you decide to invoke his name. Because we're talking movies, we're talking Candyman, starring Yaha Abdul-Mateen II, Tiana Paris, and Nathan Stewart Garrett. Written by Jordan Peele, Wynn Rosenfield, and Nia DaCosta. Based on the characters created by Clive Barker and Bernard Rose, and directed by Nia DaCosta. I am the writing on the wall, the sweet smell of blood. Be my victim.
I don't take any responsibility for this, but Candyman, 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 Candyman.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? Tonight, we're talking about Candyman, the release in 2021, which is a direct sequel to the 1992 film. So let's immediately kick it over to our resident horror expert, Scott. Scott, take it away.
Yeah, to begin, I just want to apologize to our audience because this is really going to be the quickest show we've ever had. Because, Chris, if you say anything derogatory, anything negative, even the old, if it was me, I would edit this out shit, I am exiting this meeting. So, Chris, sing the praises of Candyman.
No. You can't put me in that kind of box. Nobody put baby in the corner, and nobody put Chris in the box. If you're gonna give me those types of constraints, you gotta fucking lead off, buddy, because like you literally took away Chris's entire lexicon. So Scott, take it away.
I fucking love this movie.
Okay.
I thought it was amazing. I could not, every choice was spot on, by the cinematography, the direction, even the tweaks they made from the first movie to this one, which I don't want to give it away. I thought it blew my mind. I'm 100% in awe of this movie, and right now this movie is my best of 2021.
Like hands down, not best horror of 2021.
Just film in general.
Fantastic.
right now. Obviously we still got some more months. I got some more movies to watch, but right now, this is my number one.
That's okay. You heard it here first, folks. So okay, first off, are you a fan of the original 1992 film?
I enjoyed it, but it's not one I would revisit a lot. There's a lot of symbolism in that film, a lot of things that were well done, but in terms of slasher horror, Candyman is not in my top 5, right? But this movie has now propelled it into the top 5. For me, even as a kid watching that movie, I always consumed the first one as symbolism for consumption, and to me, I always thought Candyman was a drug for Helen in the first movie. That's when they're always together. She seems all dazed, she's just high as shit. What they did with this movie kind of takes that kind of away, but flips it 180. And yeah, I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want to spoil it because it just came out, right?
Just another question. So did you rewatch the original Candyman in conjunction with this at all?
I did the first one, the second one that was directed by Bill Condon, just to see, because once I realized he's Bill Condon was the director of the second one, I just wanted to see how the contrast between what he was then as a young director to now, right? So, but I didn't watch the third one because the third one's the one that went like all out, like pretty much put in the Friday the 13th formula, and it's all boobs. And it's kind of weird that, you know, the third one, the plot is Candyman wants to fuck his descendant. So I was just like, this is just getting like kind of weird. But yeah, those two, I watched those two and then watched this one.
So as a sequel, is this like new canon? It's like we're doing the Halloween thing. Are you cool with this being the new, essentially Candyman 2? Like the sequel, like a true, like you think these line up well? Like you think just on a canon, you think that they did a good job of going from, if you just like get rid of everything else, 1992 film Candyman, 2021 film, those bookend together well.
Yeah, like again, like the way they built upon like the mythos of the first film and then inserted it into here, and then has its little twists and turns. But the thing that I think they did really well here is using kind of just history itself, like what the world was like in 1992 to what the world's like now, and how that technically would reflect upon like this myth, this legend of the creature, the monster, whatever you want to call him, of Candyman, and how that can be kind of converted and twisted, right?
Like time has changed and so has Candyman.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Like even how you see, because what the, like, I know they're like, it's not a major spoiler, but how they're talking about oh my god, I can't pronounce it, gentrification, where they're taking like
gentrification.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where they take, like, you know, in 1991, oh my god, now
this was a project, basically. It was like a whole project complex, and now it's like a fucking Starbucks and luxury condos, right?
Exactly, right? And you see it like in the world now too, where they kind of like, these developers buy up all these places, all these, like, you know, like the states where they have these like rent protected homes, they start buying them up, and then, you know, it's the plot of every drama that you've probably seen in the last 3 years, especially it's development drama, where, you know, the landlord doesn't maintain the home, so that way these residents leave and then they start building it up, right? And yeah, like using real life events, like real world events and timelines, makes it that much better. And I'll say one thing, between the first one and the second one, Vanessa Williams did not age at all. Like, it literally looks like she came off set of the first one and then just sat down on the set of the second one. Like, I will give her props. Like,
so, and one thing I will definitely give this film credit for is, and for those that don't know, I'm actually in pre-production on a kind of horror slasher thriller type thing. And one of the premises that I want to work around is this idea of shoot your horror. And we actually talked about this on our last show, the idea of like, do a good job and add your horror. Don't just make horror. And so this film is very much a drama with like bloody sequences. But what you're watching is very, very capable actors with a very capable script doing very good work in a film that's being well directed. And it happens to be a horror film, opposed to, let's just like throw all the, you know, filmmaking techniques out the window. Let's put some boobs, let's put some blood, and let's do this thing for $3 million. And, you know, like, let's be honest, this is not a Blumhouse film. You know what I mean? Like, this is a very well constructed film. And I think they did a very good job. Like, this is a $25 million budget, which is it's a solid budget, but that's not a lot of money. And when you watch this, anyone who sits down and watches this, when you see the level of filmmaking, the cinematography is fucking hands down. So actually, here's a question. We've talked about Antebellum having great cinematography, and this film definitely has great cinematography. Which one has better cinematography? Because to me, it's fun. Fucking toss up, because there's some really good establishing cinematic shots, like tracking shots in Antebellum. But this, man, it's like it's almost like the inverted shots and like Christopher Nolan level, like psycho, like mental flipping cinematography. Like they did some just amazing work with mirrors, which I always think are great, like camera devices if you can use them properly. Great use of shadow, great use of color, great use of costume. This
I will say, like in terms of what they did with the mirrors and reflection, it's going to propel it and take it forward. I think it's going to be copied and mimicked a lot because it was like, to me, I couldn't think of another film that kind of used those kind of tropes in which how they used the reflection and how they used the mirrors.
Well,
and this, especially when you have a killer, especially when you have a killer that, you know, works through the mirrors kind of thing, right?
Yeah, they hit that, which is basically the callback to the original, you know, premise of the killer. You've got mirrors being a physical choice to use from a cinematic perspective because you can get some really crazy angles, you can do interesting things. But then you also have the metaphorical aspect of a mirror, the looking into the mirror, and can you face, you know, as Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror? You know what I mean? Like you're hitting.
Yeah, never do that again. Never fucking do that again.
I'm half this podcast. I can do what I want. You already took away all my lexicon, so I'm gonna have to do Michael Jackson singing. Yeah, like again. From a stylized perspective, this film is fantastic. So my quote this week is from David Sims of The Atlantic. The film has enough visual panache to make it an involving watch, but it struggles to live up to the audaciousness of its deeper ideas. And I agree with it. Like there is a lot going on in this film. There's a lot of social commentary, which I love the approach. My note to myself basically was like, this film tries to say a lot in 90 minutes, plus be a horror film. It's a good effort, but it misses the mark. You can usually do one thing well, but not a lot of things at the same time. And go ahead.
If I can interject, what in your opinion did it miss out on? Like, what was it trying to say that you thought it missed out?
I think it said the stuff it needed to say. I do feel that it got a bit slow. So this film's 90 minutes, and at points it felt long. You know what I mean? Like I
no,
felt
you
like
can't say it. You can't say it.
Okay, I
You
can't say
can't
it. Okay. So
Well,
it's 90
I'll say
minutes. It's 90. It's a 90-minute film. And to answer your question, it wasn't scary enough. It almost felt like DaCosta got caught up in the like narrative structure as far as like talking about gentrification and like police brutality on Black community and stuff, which is all great. And again, it's like you want to write a drama that has horror, and it almost felt like the horror became not even secondary, but like third or fourth on the list. So maybe this will be a good jumping off point for like number 2, which will go like kind of Alien, and that turns into Aliens, and then we get some like really good kill. That said, hold on before you come in. Hold on before you come in. The ending of this movie, fucking awesome. I will definitely give it. The ending of this movie is fucking rad. Okay, go.
Okay, now in terms of that's the thing that I thought is weird, because you're saying it's not say it didn't for you, it didn't say what it was supposed to say, and it was long. And the way I saw it, right, and see if this changes your mind at all. I think what they did well is the use of story.
Yes, they did.
Right. It's all about continuing the story, right? Like when we were in elementary school, and you know, you would have indigenous studies, and they would talk about how the story of the tribe was passed on from generation to generation, and that's how it lived on, right? And what I found, and I thought what they did extremely well, is technically how we were talking about this is a straight continuation of the first film, and it was to continue the story of the Daniel Robitaille Candyman, so he can live again, right? So
Sure.
it actually brought
the story arc is fine. again, and as I've already said, I think it's great to have like a drama that you then add superimpose horror elements on top of. And I think they tried to do that. I just think they did not execute it very well. And by they, I mean Nina DaCosta. I mean, so Nina
I'm going
DaCosta.
to disagree, man. Like, I'm going to disagree. Like, I think story-wise, and I think.
So you found it scary. Did you find it scary? Or whatever you judge horror films by, like thrilling enough, like, or
it was 100%, right? Like, I think if you're going in for a horror film, right, or like, this is gonna hit its mark, and what's scary to you could be like traumatic for somebody else, right?
Sure.
Like, in terms of horror, it's all general, like art, right? It's all
perspective.
Exactly. I was having a brain fart. I'm smoking too much.
Did your brain eat beans? Because it seems to be farting a lot.
No, man. It's like, it's all the paint fumes from painting, right? I
Tripping the light, fantastic over there.
Yeah, I went method with this one. Since the main character was a painter, I decided to just paint and live in his world for a little bit.
Nice.
But, I'll say this in terms of what you're saying, scary or not. Like, what I appreciated is she threw in some nods to some films that you probably think are scary, like Rosemary's Baby.
Mm-hmm.
There's some nods to that in the film, but to me, the whole premise of this film, and I'm gonna have to spoil it, is they literally changed Candyman from a villain to a hero.
They do.
The end.
They do.
So, and that's the thing. Like,
which actually allows you to look at the first movie and see him in a different light. I would say that pivot, the pivot in the second, actually can change your entire perspective of what's going on in the first.
Right. So yeah, and I think in terms of what you're saying, like, with that end goal in mind, there's only so much gore, so much things that he could technically do that he can still be kind of redeemed, that you're going with him by the end, right? If he's going in a all-out Freddy Krueger
or Michael Myers kind of kill fest.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, where he comes out of a pool party and just starts killing everybody, it's hard to redeem him, right? That you're looking forward to when the final girl gets to him, right? Here you're like, when the story is completed and what the laundromat guy got what he wanted, and the story is completed, and now he is redeemed. He's not he's not a spirit looking for revenge. He's a spirit looking for
he's a vengeance.
Yeah.
He's vengeful now. Yeah.
So,
that again. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm looking at it and seeing I'm wanting something different, and maybe they executed exactly what their goal was in the first place. I do 100% agree with you that if the end goal was where, and again, I don't want to spoil it either, but we've both seen the film, that point they get to, if that was the goal, they got there. I just felt that they could have maybe made it a little more dynamic in the middle, but again, you've taken away my lexicon, so I can't really pick on it too much.
And I'll say, like, in terms of the kills that are shown in this, the way they are done, like, to me, like, those are some of my favorite scenes in the film.
Yeah.
Right.
I like some of the stuff in the gallery, the lead up with the bondage straps on the jeans, and like you know that is a bad choice for those characters to be making, and then what ends up happening because of said bad, I was like, fantastic. Like, it was good. Like I said, it was visually very stimulating. There is a great story there. It felt a bit long to me. I mean, Nia DaCosta, her big claim to fame is she had a kind of like a short or a section of her film Little Woods that got picked up like by the Sundance development program. And then Little Woods is on my list of things to see. It looks amazing. It's basically about, a young girl getting pregnant and having to get an abortion, and then her friend having to get back into drugs to like pay for the and it looks beautifully shot. It's like super dramatic. So she is definitely the right person to do what you're talking about. Take a slasher film and give it some depth and then move it forward. So it will be interesting to see. There's so it did 75 million on a $25 million budget. Again, we don't have the VOD the VOD numbers. I'm assuming this made enough money to make a sequel. There seems to be lots of buzz around it. The actors did a fantastic job. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even the set, theater wise, even the 75 over 25, that's during the pandemic, when this was one of the only films that went theater only, right?
Sure.
It's just now releasing on VOD, which I'm going to assume it's going to be number one on VOD.
And so I saw it in the theater. I purposely went, and it was actually the first movie I have seen in a theater since the beginning of COVID. And I'm glad I saw it in the theater because of the cinematics in it, like the DOP John Galusian. So this is what's interesting. So the DOP on this, I was expecting him to have all these really great credits. And I mean, he does have some that I personally find very cinematic. Like The Overnight is well shot. American Pickle looks fantastic. And just like from the trailer, it looks like really, really well shot. But he's done a lot of rom-coms. And I was shocked at the level of cinematography that he has brought to this film. I would suggest that even if you don't like horror, you should watch this film just for the cinematography. The cinematography is amazing.
Oh yeah, and I 100% agree on that. It captivates you. You feel like you're in the story. I'll take my favorite shot of this film is the when he's in the apartment with the reporter, right? And then it has the give or take kind of thing, and she goes into the bathroom. He's kind of teasing her, oh, I dare you to say the name, if you want to do it. She goes into the bathroom to just pee or whatever. You see her with a shitty grin looking at the mirror, but you don't hear anything. You don't see anything. And then he has his interaction. And then when he leaves, and all of a sudden it's that pan out of her apartment in the window.
Yeah.
Right? Like how that looked and how beautiful technically. It reminded me of Dark Knight Returns, fucking Batman, just the cinescape, right?
Yes.
You can kind of see, it was one of the most beautiful things that I've seen this year, right? And that's why right now it's number one for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. The cinematics are great. I mean, Jordan Peele does good work in general. Get Out was well shot. Us is well shot. I mean, he's a producer on BlacKkKlansman. He's a good producer. He knows he's got the name and the money behind him and the accolades, because he's got an Oscar and 3 Oscar nods. He's got 2 BAFTAs. So when he puts his dick down,
Say my name.
people come and suck it. You know what I mean? And they sucked a good dick on
Are you
this fucking movie.
serious? Are you fucking serious right now? I am not going to take responsibility for that. That's 100%.
I mean, the guy's got the ability, and he's got the chops, and he's got the accolades to be not everybody can walk in and be I want to do a Candyman fucking sequel, and I want this kind of budget, and I want these types of cinematics, and I want this kind of director. Some people get told to fuck right off when that happens, right?
I hear what you're saying, but a $25 million budget isn't really that a lot, right?
It's not, but to take $25 million and spend it on a horror movie that's this artistic, that's a tough fucking sell it's going to be a tough sell to the studios, right? You need
I don't think it would.
I disagree with you. I think you need someone like Jordan Peele. It's the same way Christopher Nolan can have $350 million, design IMAX cameras to fucking shoot backwards, but fucking Chris Langford, Scott Vega, we cannot go out and get that time of you need to be able to say why, and you need to be the right who to make that happen. And I think Jordan Peele is definitely the guy to do that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know.
I feel like you're pushing back, like you don't understand.
And no, because from my understanding of it, and I could be wrong, like the studio went to them to make this film because Candyman was in limbo and nothing had been done for the last 20 years.
Sure.
Of.
I mean, and again, and you're right about that. I mean, and Jordan, but Jordan Peele has a reputation for successfully pulling these things off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you.
But yeah, man. I mean, I think that one of my favorite aspects of this was the puppetry animation, which was created by a Chicago-based puppet theater company named Manual Cinema. That stuff's so cool, especially I think, is it in the end credits when they do the whole play out?
The story, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely
watch.
I would actually watch a 20-minute, 25-minute short film done in that puppetry animation, just talking about the like legacy of Candyman. That in itself should be a short film.
They did that when it got delayed.
Oh, there is already one.
Yeah, when it got delayed, they released like a little short off the puppetry that was like the story of Candyman, because this was supposed to be released last year, but it got pushed to this year because of COVID. But yeah, they did do that. I think you can find it on YouTube if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, I'm definitely gonna check that out. I don't have much more to say, but one thing I do want to do is I just want to quickly talk about like two of the lead actors. So Yahya Abdul Mateen II. So he was in the trial of the Chicago 7. I mean, people know him from Aquaman. He was in Us. I'm looking forward. He's going to be taking over the role of Morpheus in the Matrix Resurrection film. So that should be kind of cool. Those are some big Lawrence Fishburne shoes to step into. So it should be good. He definitely has the chops. He's a fantastic actor. And Tiona Paris, who played Brianna from Dear White People, Shaq Ra, was amazing, by the way. She was really good in Mad Men, but in one of my favorite films by James Baldwin, If Beale Street Could Talk. And if you haven't seen If Beale Street Could Talk, definitely watch it. It's beautifully shot. And she does a fantastic job in that. So unless you got anything else for me, Scott, I'm good. I would recommend people see this. And then maybe give us some feedback, talk to us, Goose.
That's Candyman.
And that is our rant for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. If you're looking to get a hold of us, please go to our website at howdyoulikethatmovie.com. All our social media links are there, and you can email us as well. Why the fuck do you gotta bring in Top Gun? Like, we had such a good conversation, and then you gotta bring in that shit. Like, whatever. I'm done with this shit. I'm gone.
Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.